Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American brews and tunes. Shibbity-beeby-dow!
Shibbity-beeby-dow!
Oh.
That really doesn't get said enough.
It doesn't.
Outside of this podcast.
Everybody who's listening needs to start saying that in their daily life.
It'll just make you more happy.
When you wake up in the morning, instead of yawning, just go, shibbity-beeby-dow!
It's kind of like that thing where they say like it's scientifically proven if you sing more in life,
Exactly.
even randomly about what you're doing, it'll make you a happier person.
Yeah.
If you say shibbity-beep-dow regularly, it'll probably make you a happier person.
It will,
to a degree.
100% proven.
Yeah.
Science has shown that if you say shibbity-beep-dow every day, multiple times a day, you'll be 65% more happy.
Yes. Statistics are true.
Statistics are never made up. Just like we know statistics about American Brews and Tunes being the 100% best podcast ever.
I have heard that.
Yeah.
Right now. Okay. Anyways, this is American Brews and Tunes. My name is Stephen Johnston.
My name is Jesse Titus.
And this is episode 98.
98!
Ooh. We're over the hill and over the other hill.
Over the hill?
We've been over a couple hills on this podcast.
We decided that the first hill is 40, right?
Yeah, I think some people say 50, though.
Not 50.
But I think it's 40.
I'm 1 year closer to being over
The mini
the
hill.
mini hill.
You are.
Yep.
For all you who don't know, Jesse literally just turned 30.
29.
29.
I'm 1 year away from 30.
I should know this because I'm
You're
I'm the same age.
turning 29 this year.
I was about to say because I'm turning 32, but 2020's got me all backwards.
Yeah, it's got everybody all backwards.
Yeah.
All backwards, turned around. It's almost as if we've done a 180.
I'll tell you what has been keeping me as not backwards as possible is beer and music.
Yeah.
Something that you can always usually rely on.
You can always count on it to normally be the same.
Yes, this is true.
Unless you're trying some crazy, wacky beer or listening to some avant-garde
Or trying a beer
music.
from Nashville's Calf Killer. Is that the one?
True,
Where they
Calf Killer,
make
that's
like
right.
this
They make
single-
really single barrel brews, and they're always weird and interesting.
and different.
Yeah,
So
they don't have like a standard beer that they always produce. Right?
I'm not sure that you can find it. They might, but they just produce like wacky things that you can only find on draft.
Yes.
Yeah, but they're cool. Check them out if you ever are in Nashville and you see the name Calf Killer. You're in for a treat. Anyways, on this very fun episode, I'm going to be reviewing an album that Jesse had recommended called Natural Everyday Degradation by
Yep.
the band Remo Drive.
That's right.
But before I dive into that interesting album, let's dive into some interesting beer.
Yeah. What do we got today?
Today we have, like I was just talking about Calf Killer and Nashville Brewery, we have got another Nashville brewery, Southern Grist.
Oh yeah.
We have reviewed their beers from time to time on this podcast.
Yeah, haven't we had their coconut IPA on here before?
You mean
The
Broken Nut?
Broken Nut? Yeah.
What a great name. But this is called Gradient Love.
Mm-hmm.
It is a hazy IPA. Not really much to say about hazy IPAs other than
Get ready for a thicker mouthfeel and
juicier,
some
less hops
juicy,
usually.
sweet citrus,
Yeah.
which is generally what you're going to find. I've never had this beer, but I'm looking at Untapped right now, and from what Untapped tells me, it is a New England oated double IPA hopped with Vic's Secret, El Dorado, and Galaxy hops.
Well, that
So-
quote is accurate because that is literally what it says on the side of the can.
Oh,
It also says, drink fresh, keep cold, when in doubt, add a gradient. That's usually like if you're photoshopping something and you don't know how to design it, add a gradient.
yeah.
This clocks in at 7.9%, so it is technically high gravity,
It's kind of boozy.
but we're not flying
little bit
too
boozy.
high.
You never wanna
Color-wise,
fly
it's
too high.
kind of looks like pineapple juice. That's what I'm looking
It does, yeah.
at. Like a thick pineapple juice.
It's very hazy.
Smells citrusy, a little hoppy.
Smells good.
It's got a nice little head on top.
Smells kind of like a normal New England IPA. I'm
The
interested about
oats-
the oated part,
Yeah,
though.
that usually gives it a little bit of a creaminess. Doesn't
Yeah.
really affect the flavor as much as some other things that they may add,
Yeah.
like the hop varieties.
Yeah.
What do you say we give this a little try?
Let's give it a try.
As we always say on American Brews and Tunes, and as you should always say, shibbity-beep-a-doo! Wow, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And not just because I'm about to drink beer. Good hop presence.
Yeah, I think so.
It's juicy, but the hops come through a little bit more than the juiciness.
Yeah, the hops come through at the end.
Yeah, you really have that lingering
Kind of in
bitterness.
in the back of the palate.
Yeah. It is creamy. I suppose that would come from the oats or the oats.
Oh, it's almost like not as thick as, say, like a bearded iris beer.
No, I don't think so.
It's not quite as thick. But it still is really good, though. I
Thicker
like
than
it.
normal mouthfeel, but yeah, it's pretty solid. I do think that it tastes boozier than 7.9%.
I can see what you're saying. There is like that slight warmness.
Yeah, which I
that
wouldn't
you get.
expect from an IPA that's less than 8%.
Yeah, well, by 0.1%.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 9%.
Yeah, I suppose normally you get to like 8.5 to like 9 to 10%. That's where you really get that warmness.
A 1% difference on a beer makes a big difference in taste.
It's quite a bit different. Now, of course, if you're going from like 4 to 5%, that's not a big difference.
Probably
But if
not.
you're going from
6 to
8
7,
to
7 to
9,
8, you can usually tell.
Yeah, especially with IPAs. A little bit more with like West Coast style IPAs, but even with like New England style IPAs, you can still definitely tell.
Yeah.
But this one's tasty.
It is.
I
It's a
can
good one.
definitely get the pineapple
Oh, yeah.
kind of juice. It's not overpowering. It's it's enough to let you know it's there, but it's not the majority of the taste, which I like.
Yeah. It's really just kind of solid all around.
Yeah, it's very tasty.
Muy sabroso.
Good
as
job.
our Spanish-speaking friends would say.
Gut lecker.
Does that mean good liquor?
No, it means tastes good in German. I don't. It's probably not the right.
Gut Bier.
It's probably not the right. What's the term for like speaking
Conjugation?
properly? Conjugation.
Something like that.
Something like that. It's probably not the correct conjugation, but
It's
I
not
know
translated correctly, literally.
I know gut lecker means something to the matter of tastes good.
I think sabre muy bien, does it taste good? Or muy sabroso is very tasty in Spanish?
Muy sabroso.
I think,
Sabroso.
but I could be wrong. As always, if the flavor profile changes to us as it warms up, we will let you know. Otherwise, let's dive into Remo Drive.
Yeah, let's start talking about Remo Drive.
Their second album, as I said before, Natural Everyday Degradation, released 2019.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I had never heard of this band until I was listening to Spotify. Sometimes I listen to like my weekly mix where they essentially play other bands similar to what I normally listen to.
Yeah, they come up with some good recommendations sometimes.
Yeah, and one song off this album came on, and I was like, I like this song a lot. And so I listened to the whole album, and I was like, this is a pretty solid album.
I try to listen to those weekly, what do they call it, like weekly discoveries or something?
Something like that,
Or recommended for you. I don't remember what it's called, but I try to
Recommended
take
for you,
advantage of
maybe,
that. I like preview some of the songs, and I'll star the ones that sound like they could be good, and
Yeah.
then I forget to come back to them.
Yeah.
But I should listen to the ones I've starred more. I heard of this band when Epitaph announced that they were signing them. Like they sent out it was either an email press release or some press release somewhere that they're signing Remo Drive, and I was like, Remo Drive, what the heck?
Yeah.
And Epitaph, at least back in like the 90s, had a ton of bands that I like, 90s, early 2000s. More so, they've kind of gotten into the heavier bands that I'm not as fond of. But usually when they announce that they're signing someone new, I'll check it out just to see what they're like.
Are the Menzingers on Epitaph?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Same with John K. Samson, Weaker Thans,
Oh, yeah.
at least in the U.S. But I checked it out. They were re-releasing their album Greatest Hits on Epitaph. I think they had released it with whatever label they were with before. So I checked out Greatest Hits, and I liked it quite a bit. So that was my only real experience with them. I knew they had come out with 2 more albums since then.
Yeah.
This one, Natural Everyday Degradation, and they had an album come out this year, which I have not listened to.
Same. I have not either.
Perhaps I'll dive in. I don't know. It's kind of hard to classify this band.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of different influences. I just wrote garage pop rock slight emo band.
Yeah, I mean a little bit. I would say that garage pop is probably a
Good.
descriptor, and it's almost like the what is it? Like the 50s, like late 50s rock,
pop. Yeah.
like late 50s pop and rock is almost seems like it would be a good
Yeah.
kind of way to describe their sound as well.
Like that
Kind
thing you
of.
do,
Yeah,
kind of in that vein.
a little bit. Yeah.
Not exactly, but close enough.
I mean, it's closer to that than say like 90s rock. You know.
Yeah. They do have some grungy influences, though, I would say.
Yeah,
A
definitely.
little here and there. And they're also from Minnesota.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
There you go. Another Minnesota band.
Minnesota band.
Minnesota. Just like
Yeah.
that one band that I'm drawing a blank on that's like a pop
Motion
punk
City?
band. Well, them too. But there's a pop punk band that the guitar player like goes all over the board,
Band of Turtles.
taps a lot. Not Band of Turtles. I can't remember what they're called. If I remember, I'll let you know. Otherwise,
Taps a lot.
yeah. We saw them live. They opened for somebody that we saw at Basement East. And their
Basement
drummer's
East.
got a huge
Tiny
mustache.
tiny
moving parts.
Moving parts?
Yes, tiny moving parts.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, this is their sophomore release, as I mentioned, following their smash album, Greatest Hits. It's a bold move, naming your first album Greatest Hits.
Greatest Hits, yeah.
It's pretty clever. And in my opinion, that album is their greatest hits. But that's okay. This album seems to slow down a little bit more from Greatest Hits, and I think it's a little less standoutish.
Okay.
I think a lot of songs on here sound the same. Not in a bad way, though. There's a lot of cohesion.
Yeah.
There's still good elements and whatnot. I do want to touch upon his voice first, because it's a really unique voice.
It is very unique.
He uses a lot of vibrato. So his voice wavers I can't do it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And his voice sounds like he sings soft.
Yeah, just soft enough to where he gets that slight little bit of vocal fry in his voice.
Yeah, it's really an interesting way to sing.
I can't do it.
Like it
like crackles a
It
little
almost sounds
bit.
like his voice is on the brink of not working almost sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. But shall we dive into the track listing?
Let's do it.
All right. Track number 1, which is my first recommendation, is called $2. And bucks is spelled with an X. So that's where I would say is some of the grungy influences, that heavy guitar coming in,
Yeah.
chunky driving. But then they come in with the dissonanced guitar in that lead line. And as soon as the verse comes in, all of that is stripped away and it's just drums, bass, and vocals.
Yeah, so they play a lot with like dynamics in a lot of their,
Yes.
or I guess technically not dynamics, but
I'd say it's dynamics to
it's
a
like
degree.
the thickness of the sound or whatever.
Layers. They add and
Yeah.
strip a lot of layers and play
Yeah.
with the space. And they do that on every song pretty much. So I'll say that again when it happens, but it's all over the place. After hearing the intro, you think it's going to be a rager the entire way through, but
Yeah.
not quite. Like it's really a different pace once the verse comes in. And even the chorus really isn't that massive. It's pretty interesting, but they do show their dynamics and when they go back and forth between verses and chorus. Lyrically, the song's about moralistic guilt, even if he's not being a religious person.
Yeah.
Like he talks about being drawn into religion because of the music at one point in time, but not really caring about it. But then he's got things that he feels guilty for. He's like, should I feel guilt even if I don't believe in God? It's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of strange theme for the first song on the album.
I mean,
They picked it for a reason.
yeah, the whole theme or the whole idea in that song makes sense in the context of like the album title.
Yeah. Natural
Everyday
Degradation. And later on in the album, you really kind of get
Yeah.
the themes of mundanity and what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Especially in my favorite song of the album, which I don't know if it's your favorite song, but we'll see.
Probably not. Because track number 2, The Grind, which is my next recommendation, is probably my favorite song on the album.
We definitely don't have the same favorite song.
Yeah. This is way more, way faster and more upbeat than the last song.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah.
As with many bands on their sophomore effort, like after a lot of bands that have their first album come out to a lot of acclaim,
yeah.
will then spend the next year and a half touring. So when their sophomore album comes around, they write a lot about what it's like to be on tour instead of writing what it's like to be an average everyday person not on tour.
Right.
So this is their song about being on tour, The Grind. But it's really a different take because if you don't know that, and I only know that because I read on Genius where he clearly pointed out that that's what it is.
That's what it's about.
That's what it's about, but he put it almost in the context as if it was a love song, like falling out of love with the girl. But no, it's not. It's kind of falling out of love with being on the road.
Yeah.
And how it's a grind. It's really interesting. I don't know if you picked up on that.
I mostly interpreted it as the relationship aspect, but
go back and look.
Kind of saw that it could be applied to quite a few things.
Yeah, but it's
not
about
specifically a
tour.
relationship. Yeah.
It's interesting. We're falling out of love. Ooh. It's really a catchy chorus.
Yeah.
Very catchy chorus. But I thought that was really kind of a clever way to sing about it. Because if you don't know it's about being on tour, you would never guess.
Oh yeah, that's a really good part in the chorus where like the drums go double time. Mm-hmm. So falling out of love.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It's really, really catchy.
Yeah.
You can really dance to it if you want to. Moving on to track number 3, which is not a recommendation. No need to say that, just reminding everyone. This song is called The Devil.
The Devil.
It's a mid-tempo song, and it's fairly ambiguous on the exact theme, but he does touch upon the God and Devil each on his shoulder. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like they're in cahoots.
They're in cahoots against him.
Yeah, so it's an interesting take, like less of him being torn which way to go, but both of them are screwing with him, kind of. So it's kind of interesting. At least I think that's in the first verse. I'm not sure if that carries on to the second.
Yeah.
It's the chorus doesn't really do too much for me. But I do like there's a pre-chorus riff, da 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 da, where it gets really heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, we're building to something crazy. But the chorus isn't crazy.
Yeah. And it just kind of stays. It plateaus.
Baby, we're just, and that's where it has the drum. Yeah. But it's an interesting style.
Yeah.
Still not sure what he's singing about. And that chorus never comes, but it's a fine song. It fits in with the album.
Yeah.
I don't dislike it. I wouldn't skip it.
For sure.
On to the next song. Track number 4 is called Shaken. And this is
Shaken.
Definitely a reference to AC/DC's You Shook Me All Night Long.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, their chorus is You Shook Me All Night Long. Mm-hmm. And AC/DC's chorus is You Shook Me All Night Long. And I think they both say yeah, you before they come in.
Yeah, and this song also has that drum beat too. Da da ba ba ba.
And like AC/DC's song, this is all about sex. Mm-hmm. But unlike AC/DC, there is no innuendos here. This one's pretty on the nose.
Yeah.
AC/DC's song is hilarious because they throw in funny things that you know what he's talking about, but it's double entendres.
Yeah,
it's tongue-in-cheek. Witty.
He's not clearly stating the deed. He's being cheeky about it. Yeah.
Yeah. This one's a little bit more on the nose. It can be graphic depending on how you read it.
Yeah.
E-O-O, E-O-O. Those things are definite noises for a reason. I like AC/DC's song better. But that's fine. The singing almost, like when you're singing about something like that, I would expect it to be sung like pretty passionately.
Yeah.
And I don't think he sings it passionately.
It seems almost like lackadaisical.
Yeah, and maybe that's the point. I don't know. Mm-hmm. There's a really pretty good guitar solo in here, though, that I liked. It's a catchy song, don't get me wrong. I just think it's funny that they took that approach. Moving on to track number 5. This song is called Dog.
Dog.
Not D-A-W-G.
D-O-G. This is probably one of my least favorite songs in the album.
Yeah, it's not one of my favorite.
It's it just kind of never goes anywhere for me.
I agree.
Like
I agree.
It kind of like meanders through this. I don't know. Like it's almost like it's searching for like what they want the hook to be.
Yeah, and
they just kind of never get there.
Something that I was going to say later, but I might as well throw it in now. I am not the biggest fan of the melodies he uses. They're unique melodies, but they're just almost something that I'm longing for in them.
They just don't quite do it for you.
Yeah, and that's nothing against them. That's just not my.
Yeah,
doesn't click with me like some other bands do.
Yeah,
not a problem. But on to back to Dog. This is a strange song thematically. I don't know if you remember the words.
Yeah, I remember most of it. He talks about like his dog not leaving him alone.
Yeah, like his dog. He hasn't slept in months.
He has to go get a silver bullet.
Yeah, because later on, maybe it's a
Apparently his dog's
werewolf. Yeah, so it's.
I don't know.
I don't think he's actually singing about his dog because it's like affecting his relationship too,
Yeah.
and affecting a bunch of aspects of his life. I think it's something else. I mean, it could even be like anxiety or something. I don't know.
It's most likely a metaphor for something.
I think it's a metaphor for something.
like
I mean,
he talks about his dog like not letting him sleep
yeah,
and whatnot. So like maybe it's anxiety, maybe
that
it's
could be.
some
He talks
other...
about being on like the phone with someone and his dog's like biting him in the arm.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
it could be.
Maybe
Maybe it
it's,
literally is a dog. I don't know, but I think it's a metaphor.
I would venture that it is a metaphor.
Yeah.
Almost 100%.
Moving on to track number 6. We passed the halfway point on this album.
Oh.
This song is called Separate Beds.
Separate beds. Separate.
I mean, you don't need to wonder what this song's about. The title says it all.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship that's been long going and you have separate beds, then the relationship is on the decline. It's grown old and stale.
Yeah, and this is where the natural everyday degradation kind of theme comes back in.
And you can interpret this one a couple different ways. Like, I don't know if he's talking about him and his significant other going down this road of separate beds, separate blah, 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 or if he's seeing people doing that.
Yeah.
Because once he gets to the chorus, he says, honey, we got a good thing. Let's keep our old love young.
Yeah, I really like that part. I think that part's super catchy.
That could be interpreted as he's seeing other people have their relationships go this way, and he's like, look, we've got something good. Let's keep this going. Or if it is his relationship, maybe this is a plea to turn things around. Or maybe it's him just being ignorant and not knowing that his relationship's going down. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There's probably even more ways to interpret it, but you could see it a bunch of different ways.
We got a good thing.
I like this melody. And I like the second chorus when the synth or guitar kind of comes in with that that repeated slight delay sound. It could be a guitar, could be a synth. I'm not entirely sure.
I think it's probably a guitar.
But it's like you kind of want to sway back and forth and dance. It's a fun
that's almost
fun song.
That might be a good representation of how he's like wanting to deliver that line to whoever he's talking to.
Yeah, sweetly.
Like he just wants it to be back and awesome, like when they were young.
I think that chorus is probably an outlier for their sound on this album. I think it's very different from the rest of the songs.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I really do like that chorus.
That's a good song.
I also like the second half of the bridge when he's like, nothing perfect lasts forever. And the drums are...
Nothing perfect lasts. Yeah.
I like that part. It's just, when I get there, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Moving on to track number 7, which is not very different from track number 6. This song's called Ezra and Marla. This song is about pretty much the same theme.
It almost seems like it would be like the...
sequel? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, in the Separate Bed song, he's talking about...
Maybe it's these people, Ezra and Marla.
Maybe he's talking about Ezra and Marla.
Because this one is about 2 specific people who have been in a long romantic relationship, and it's on the decline.
Yep. Now they're starting to see other people.
Yeah.
That person at reception's kind of cute.
Yeah, I mean, he does mention that they got eyes for other people.
Yeah.
Her when they hold hands, her grip is looser than it used to be.
Yeah.
It's a fine song. It doesn't really stand out to me. I do think it's interesting that at the end of the song, they kind of cut out to this lo-fi recording of like just him and an acoustic guitar. Mm-hmm. And they did the same thing on The Devil. So it's interesting. It almost sounds like they recorded it on a tape recorder and then tacked it on at the end.
Yeah, interesting.
Moving on to track number 8, which is my last recommendation. The song's called Halos.
Halos.
I like this song.
It is pretty good.
It's got a different vibe, I think, than some of the other ones. I think thematically it's about going down a dark path. Mm-hmm. There is some religious imagery, like he talks about a serpent with a forked tongue, lights casting a halo on the ground and angels seeing it or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's definitely questioning morality. Like he talks about, I could see you in Vegas, cocaine in New York. Some weird stuff going on. Like $2, maybe something similar thematically going on there. I really like these syncopated guitars that come in during the chorus.
Yeah.
I think those sound really good, and they kind of break up the tone a little bit. I don't know. It's got a good vibe.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
like it. Thematically, I still don't really know what he's talking about 100%. There's a bit of a controlled chaos feel. There's like weird drum hits that got that guitar thing.
Yeah.
Interesting, like just a really interesting arrangement. Moving on to track number 9, which is going to touch back upon that mundanity. The song's called "Around the Sun."
This is my favorite song.
Yeah, because all we do is go around the sun, day in and day out. This song's more poppy and upbeat than the last song.
Yes.
And the falsettos return to the chorus. He had done falsettos earlier, I forgot to mention, but he does falsettos here as well. This is existential.
Yes,
It acknowledges like day and day repetitiveness, wondering what's the point. I thought it was interesting that later in the song he sympathizes with addictions, like saying like, we're all just going around the sun, so you pretty much need to have some vice.
Yeah,
like
he's
whether
he
it's
talks about how people
drinking,
are
or if it's like
drinking or
pills, whether
yeah,
prescribed or self-served.
yeah, to help you get through the setting of the sun, the setting of each day and night.
It's kind of a not really happy nihilist. Well, not nihilistic, but slightly nihilistic.
It's definitely not a happy song, but it
sounds happy.
It almost it's a very very upbeat,
Yeah,
like catchy song.
yeah, but not thematically happy.
Yeah, I love the bridge in that song, where it gets like really really quiet, and then there's like that huge drum hit, and they go back into the chorus. After that, I love that part.
Just a little break almost.
Yeah,
Good song.
it's a very good song.
On to track number 10, which is called Mirror,
Mirror,
or as I would say, Mirror.
mirror.
Yeah,
Is that how you say it in Pennsylvania?
I think that's how we said it in
Mirror?
Pittsburgh. It was like just
Mirror.
like MERE, mirror.
Mirror, mirror. I don't think I like naturally pronounce it like overpronounce like mirror, but I say like mirror,
Mirror.
mirror.
You definitely have to
like mirror, but not mirror.
Use like nearer.
Like nearer, yeah, nearer mirror.
I just say mirror.
The nearer mirror.
The near mirror.
The near mirror.
Oh man,
Which mirror do you want me to look in? The near mirror.
the near mirror, not the far mirror.
The near mirror. Okay.
Boromir.
Faramir. 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 Faramir.
All right, let's move on.
Anyway.
Back to the song called Mirror.
Yeah.
I think this song's about anxiety and having a significant other that can help ease your mind. Though I am purely guessing because he's fairly vague.
Yeah.
Pretty open to interpretation. Second half of the song is a banger when the chorus really opens up.
Yes, it is.
Not the first half of the song, but that second chorus kind of just like goes and goes, and it really rages in a good way. One of the harder hitting parts on the album, I'd say musically. But other than that, I don't have much to say about it.
Okay.
So we move on to the last track.
Yeah, dude.
Track number 11 is called The Truth.
The truth.
And what else could you want as an album closer but the truth? Fairly vague, again. He mentions that he doesn't mind wasting time. He's got some clever ways, like he says, like, I don't mind if you hang the clock, like if you're killing time.
Yeah.
Hang the clock. So he also says at the end of the song, when I'm with you, I don't feel like I'm running from the truth. So it might be a love song or even an affectionate song for a good friend or family member. I don't know. It's not really clearly stated.
Yeah.
But he's found somebody that he likes wasting time with instead of wasting time for no good reason. Like
Right.
we're going around the sun. So he's got someone that he can do that with. I think there's kind of like an unease and a building tension in the song with the drums that do digga digga do digga digga do digga digga. Like that's the beat. Like that's normally like a fill beat or a beat right before, like a transition beat. But in this song, that's the beat throughout the verse.
Yeah.
Which is strange, and it kind of makes me feel like we're going somewhere, and we kind of go somewhere in the last chorus when it climaxes, but it's not as big as I was expecting.
Yeah.
I think they do that sometimes. Very interesting choices for the rhythms on this song.
Yeah.
But overall, this album's fairly decent. I do like their first album better, Greatest Hits.
I'll have to listen to that album
Yeah, check it out.
at
It's
some point.
a little more raw sounding too. This one, they amped up the production
This one
big
was
time.
pretty produced.
Yes,
Gotcha.
way more. But I think they were pretty consistent throughout this album. It was good. It took me a couple listens to get into it. Like the first couple listens, I was like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
But it grew on me.
Yeah, there's I do have to say that to write an album and have it be that consistent throughout is definitely nothing to, not that you're scoffing at it, but nothing to like take lightly, I guess. Like it takes a lot to write songs consistently like that.
Yeah, and that's what they did. So
Yeah,
win-win, I guess.
win-win, I guess.
I would like to check out their newer album.
Yeah, same.
I did like a quick couple previews of some songs, and it sounds a lot lighter. So we'll see. Who knows?
Who knows, man?
Any thoughts on the beer?
It's still really tasty. I mean, nothing to complain. Nothing to complain about. It still has that really nice creaminess, really nice fruity flavor. You know, it's not overpoweringly
it's like Remo
hoppy.
Drive. It's consistent.
Consistent the whole way through.
Yes. It's not like a complex stout where you get other notes the more it goes on.
Yeah, it's like it's going to stay one flavor throughout the entire glass.
Agreed. I'm looking forward to next week. We will be reviewing a different album, one that I had recommended for JC.
JC. Recommended for JC.
I recommended for JC. See. No, this is for Jesse. The album is
Boxcar Racer.
by the band.
Boxcar Racer.
A good album. I'm looking forward to hearing what you think about that one.
Same. I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah, anything from Tom DeLonge is precious.
You know, I've come to agree with you more on that over the years.
Oh yeah.
Over the years, like I appreciate Tom DeLonge's his voice, even though a lot of people might not like his whiny or nasally voice.
It's unique.
But I really like it. I always appreciate the sincerity with which he sings.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people tried to sing like that after him.
Yeah.
When like they were like the first, not the first pop punk band, but they were like the first big mainstream pop punk band.
Yeah.
And a lot of people emulated them.
Tried to.
Especially him.
I would say tried to.
I don't think anyone's emulating Mark Hoppus's voice.
No. But anyway, I'm excited to talk about that album next week for sure.
If you need to reach out to us for either an album recommendation, any questions, you want to say hi, whatever, anything constructive compliments like The Office,
or constructive criticism, either way.
Let us know. You can reach us out on all the social medias at American Brews and Tunes. Or if you want to send us an email like one person already has, go to AmericanBrewsandTunes@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And shall we sign off?
Let's
as we finish this beer.
Sounds good.
Once again, my name is Stephen Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Titus.
Shibbity-poo-doo! Down the Remo Drive. Not even hatch, just the drive.
Just down the Remo Drive.
That was good. Thanks again for listening, you guys. This has been American Brews and Tunes.
Peace.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-da!